A lot of young people don't realize that global warming has been a terrible issue for a very long time.
We need to replace oil and gas as a source of energy. If we don't do it, global warming will take care of us, unless we take care of global warming.
I want to still take vacations in my car, and I still want to order things and get on planes, but I also want the petroleum to be replaced. And the question is, how are we going to do that?
The airline industry is a fast-growing contributor to climate change. Globally, aviation is responsible for nearly 2.5% of the world's greenhouse gas emissions. 2.5% sounds quite abstract, but on a minute-to-minute basis, it's one of the most carbon-intensive things that you can do. It's not necessarily flying that's the problem, it's the type of fuels that planes use, fossil fuels. Some people think algae could be the solution. If we're really going to limit climate change to 1.5 degrees C by the end of the century, we are going to need to rethink how we power our planes.
Well, we're here at the Alta-Sea facility where our USC partners from the University of Southern California are doing the research on the kelp genome, and they're creating different variations of kelps. And we are attempting to grow kelp as a feedstock to make fuels that are carbon neutral. My name is Brian Wilcox, and I worked at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory for 38 years. Today I am the Chief Technical Officer of Marine Bioenergy, and we create systems for farming kelp in the middle of the ocean.
Kelp doesn't naturally grow out there in the open ocean. It needs nutrients and it needs a place to attach its anchor. So the open ocean farms will tow long lines behind drone submarines. That's exciting. There's plenty of sunlight out there and plenty of empty space. The drone submarines take the kelp down at night to the deep water, and kelp absorbs the nutrients that are in the deep water, and they're very abundant. My name is Cindy Wilcox. I'm with Marine Bioenergy. I'm a co-founder. We're working to grow millions of tons of kelp.
This facility is developed to try to do research on different ocean-related issues, and we found it a very convenient spot for domesticating giant kelp. So you see giant kelp right over there. The depth here is about 40 feet. So those are quite big plants doing very well here. My name is Sergey Nuzhdin. I work for University of Southern California, professor in molecular computation and marine environmental biology. We are domesticating kelp to make it into a perfect biofuel crop with support of Department of Energy.
Kelp is very good for biofuels in general because it can be made in great abundance. Today, all feedstocks are grown on land. So that could be corn for making corn ethanol.
We absolutely congratulate the corn people. They've shown us the way. They're helping us replace our fuels with corn ethanol, and that's great. But we're not going to be able to replace all the fuel with food crops because it's taking too much land, too much fresh water. So by growing kelp where we don't need land, we don't need fresh water, it gives us a whole other resource.
Researchers estimate we need about 0.5% of the world's oceans to grow enough algae to power all our long-haul vehicles and flights worldwide.
Kelp has very broad applications. Kelp can be used for producing of methanol, and methanol can replace diesel fuel. Kelp can be used for human food. To sugar kelp, this is what in Asia and in Northeast America they use as staple food. This is what we want to introduce into our seed bank to be able to use as human food.
One of the areas that really needs liquid fuels is long-haul transportation. Right now, airplanes are being fueled by reused cooking oil, but it turns out it's barely touching the problem. So we need feedstocks to support aviation, to support long-haul shipping, trucks, and the kelp can really come in and help support those industries.
Batteries are not adequate to do long-range jet transport, and very likely will never be able to do because the energy density in a battery just isn't high enough compared to a liquid fuel. So a liquid fuel is a tremendous thing, not only for jets, but also ships and trucks and so on. Kelp offers a way to do that because you can ferment kelp easily into ethanol, basically a crude oil substitute. All of those are quite feasible with kelp, but no one has been growing enough kelp to make a significant dent in the market. And we propose to grow so much kelp that we can replace all the oil used for not only airplanes, but also ships and trucks.
So what would it take to grow enough algae to power our planes?
Kelp can grow 1 to 2 feet a day. In our case, we expect to harvest it when it gets to 20 meters of length. So 20 meters is like 70 feet long. And it grows that long in 90 days, and then you cut it back and then it grows again. So our patented approach is to take the kelp down every night and bathe them in the nutrient-rich water. It's only a few hundred meters down, so you don't have to go very far to get to these nutrients, and then we bring them back. And so in the first phase of our government-funded study, we did that, and we showed that the kelp thrives more than the kelp in the native kelp beds.
We established tank systems in which kelp can grow efficiently. If we use kelps as fertilizer to soils, we will be able to increase carbon retention in the soil that might contribute to solving global warming problems.
Well, our biggest drawback right now is that there's very little investment in this field, and people are getting excited about the investment opportunities in marine farming in general and kelp in particular. But it takes a long time for people to come to realize that they need to move from terrestrial agriculture to ocean-based agriculture in order to solve the world's problem of not having enough feedstock.
Kelp could definitely become a mainstream fuel source. There's plenty of space in the ocean, and right now we're only replacing about 20% of the petroleum. We've still got 80% to go, and we need a massive area to grow feedstocks, and the oceans provide that massive area. Kelp takes no fresh water, no agricultural land, no pesticides. We're very excited about it. It can help supplement the fuel industry for hundreds of years to come, so there's lots of opportunity.
I do believe that kelp has future, and I do see a space for ourselves as breeders, as genomicists and basic scientists to help our world to domesticate kelp and use it for improving our lives. I just believe that it will happen, and I want to be a part of it.
Some parts of the aviation industry are already seeing the potential of algae-based fuel. Airbus showed that it could fly its aircraft using algae back in 2010, and now it's working on different ways to grow its algae. Meanwhile, Japan is looking to expand its use of algae biofuels by mixing it with used cooking oil or with conventional jet fuel to lower its overall emissions. But replacing fossil fuels with algae isn't going to be enough to cut aviation's emissions. In the short term, rethinking where and how much we fly is bound to be part of the answer too.